for GB News. Has shown us that he has evidence that these barbarities have taken place in at least 50 towns. But I'm beginning to hear stories now from Scotland, to hear stories from all over the country, including southern England as well. I don't think any of us have any idea of how widespread this is. I think it is commonly known that these things are still going on. And unless we get to the bottom of what has happened here, to understand the full extent and scale of what has happened here, to understand the motives behind those who perpetrated these crimes, which frankly, I believe are more than likely to be deeply racist in nature. I really do. Unless we confront this head on, we are never going to have a path for stopping it in the future. And yet, all through this, social services ignored what they were told, didn't act on even what the victims themselves said. They frankly weren't believed. The police in many of these towns have acted abominably. I saw today a tweet that was put out from West Yorkshire Police in Bradford in 2017 to say they'd written letters to warn people against crimes of a sexual nature. Letters? They should have been interviewing, arresting, charging, and putting people in prison, and they weren't doing the job. And government wasn't in the least bit interested. It's all well and good for Kemi Badenoch now to say there should be an inquiry. She's been in Parliament for 8 years. She has never once in Parliament mentioned this issue, including 2 years from 2022 to 2024 when she was the Minister for Women. They weren't interested. And the Labour Party couldn't deal with it because for them, mass uncontrolled immigration without integration was their multicultural dream. And they can't admit that in some cases it's turned into a disaster. So we've relied on local inquiries. We've relied on the same councils, the same police forces, and the same social workers who covered the thing up in the first place to launch inquiries. And that is why we need a full national inquiry, not, as the Jay report was, into the broader issues of abuse of children. That was a shotgun approach. This needs to be a rifle shot that deals with grooming gangs, predominantly of Pakistani origin, and then preying on young, in most cases, working class white girls in this country. We need it. We need it now. We need it done quickly. We need it concluded within 9 months. And we then need action across every arm of government in this country. And it would seem that Keir Starmer is dead set against it, putting spurious arguments to Parliament, such as it would take 7 years to conduct an inquiry. That we had an inquiry already. Well, we did, but it was 459 pages and only mentioned Rotherham, which we were just discussing, once. I'm pleased that Annie Burnham has broken ranks, whatever his motives. I think the pressure on the Prime Minister is becoming immense. And I have said, and I mean, if by the end of this month, the Prime Minister has not called a full national inquiry, then we at Reform UK will raise the money, appoint the people, and do it ourselves. We'll do it.
Thank you. We've had enough of living in two-tier Britain. Had enough of two-tier policing. Had enough of two-tier justice. Had enough of us all being divided up as to whether we're black, Asian, white, as to what gender we might be, what our sexual preferences are. I mean, I don't want to know. We believe that to live in a country that works, and by the way, this is what we believe in: family, community and country. Aren't they the most important things to all of us, to everybody in the country? No, we're absolutely determined that everybody in this country should be treated equally and judged not on differences between us, but judged on their behaviour. And I tell you what, I think those days of saying, oh, we can't say this and we can't say that, and oh, we mustn't say things that offend people. I'm quite good at that. And of course, I don't mind in the least if people say things about me. It's called free speech. It's called living in liberty. It's called living in a democracy. And it's what our grandparents and great-grandparents fought 2 wars so that we could have. So we know what we stand for, we know the values we believe in, and we will stand up and fight and defend them. And perhaps one of the advantages is that we're not classic career politicians. Too much of the front benches, and indeed much of the back benches of the 2 parties that have dominated politics in our country since 1918, you know, their ambition from university through research office is to become an MP or to become a minister. Actually, those of us that make up Reform have got some real life experience. There's not a single person on that Labour front bench who's ever worked in private business. Not a single one. So is it any wonder they're making such a horlicks of it? Including our Chancellor of the Exchequer. Very senior economist from the Bank of England. And well done, Lee. Lee stood up in Prime Minister's questions and called her Rachel from accounts, and that's what she'll be known as forever. And so the economy's in a mess. We're going down the drain. Long-term rates are up, sterling's falling, and for a government that says it's committed to growth, but if you don't understand that the driver of growth is private enterprise, that the driver of growth are men and women setting up their own businesses, working hard, taking risks, and yes, if they succeed, making money. And yet all we do is we tell people at school, you can do a 4-day week. You can work from home. Oh, we're so much more productive working from home, aren't we? Oh, yes. I should cocoa. I mean, there's no one left in Whitehall anymore. They're all working from home. We need a complete economic change of culture in this country. We've got to tell young people that actually, no one succeeds in life, in any walk of life, unless they do one thing: dedicate themselves and work damned hard. That is how you get results in life. And let's stop demonizing. Stop demonizing people who succeed and make money and do well. Let's do what the Americans do. Let's cherish those people, because without them paying their taxes, we won't have a national health service. We won't have care for the elderly. We need to make money as a country. But Rachel Reeves, of course, is currently in China. Or should I say, China. More of that later. And I guess going to China and begging the Chinese to buy British government bonds is just one step away from going to the IMF. We believe in encouraging business. We believe the administrative state overburdens everybody. We believe and we know that the cheap importation of foreign labour has, over the last decade and more, driven down the wages of working British people. We want a country in which our brightest and best want to stay, because right now they're leaving. They're going off all over the world, Dubai, Australia, America. We need a change of culture, and I think we, with our business brains, with our experience of life, I tell you what, we could run the country a damn sight better than the Labour Party or the Conservative Party are doing or have done. And some of the political dogma. I mean, can you believe we're even having a debate today? Isn't it great? We didn't have a blackout on Wednesday. How in the 21st century are we even having that conversation? But of course, we paid up to 50 times the market price for electricity for those last-minute gas-fired stations, many of which will be out of commission by 2030. This is the lunacy pursued by the Conservatives and now followed by Labour, and God knows Miliband won't stop until every square yard of land is solar and our seas are all full of wind. Well, as we learn, I'm sure Richard talked about Dunkenflout. You didn't disappoint me, thank goodness for that. We've got another 7 or 8 days of this coming. And we're still importing electricity from Europe. Well, one day they'll need it more than we do. These are the idiots that are leading our country, that have given us expensive electricity, that have given our businesses the most expensive energy in the world, and we're being deindustrialized because of it. We need plain, good, common sense in government, not people following ideology that is failing and will fail and is leading us to economic and social disaster. And I believe reform can do that. We've got the people and we're good enough. Now, it's been this time last year, I was fresh back from the Australian jungle. Thinner and fitter than I'd been since school. 3 weeks without drinking. Which I'm doing again, by the way. I'm on dry January. You don't believe me, do you? The papers have said my leadership could be under threat. Maybe this is what does it. I don't know. But I really didn't this time last year think that I'd throw myself back into politics, because I'd done it for such a long time. And I'd done it with one really big goal, which was to take on the establishment over their obsession with us becoming ever more deeply enmeshed in the political project of European Union. And I fought and fought and fought and stood in election after election after election, because I thought we should be an independent, self-governing, free nation. And in the end, we did it. In the end, we voted for it. Thank goodness. But I just couldn't, in the end, I just couldn't stand aside. I could not stand aside and watch Brexit be totally botched, watch promises of bringing net migration down to tens of thousands a year, repeated in manifesto after manifesto after manifesto, to end up with net 1 million coming. And to be told, don't worry, they're all coming to work. They're all paying their taxes. And now we learn the last 3 million that came from outside the European Union, only 16% are working. And we're getting poorer as a result of it. I couldn't just stand aside and watch these things happening. So I thought I'd throw my hat back into the ring, which I did on June the 3rd, and that first promise was kept. I said we'd establish a beachhead in Parliament and get millions of votes, and we did it, and I think the five of us are punching way above our weight. I really do. I really do. And that was just the start. But we had to professionalise the party and democratise the party. We've got a new party constitution. The share ownership structure of the party, which I own most of, because I wanted to protect us from infiltration, will be handed over to you, and that's all with the Electoral Commission as I speak. We're building branches all over the country. We're taking on candidates all over the country. We're making sure they're vetted. And by the way, I promise you, we have no room for those motivated by hate. We want decent, good people who want to put Britain first, who want to put the British people first, but do so out of love for their country, their culture, for those people that live here, not out of hatred for anybody else based on religion or whatever else that may be. They're important values. But to take on the big battalions, we've got to go through a series of steps. And the first here in the Northwest, and you're lucky, because last night I was in the Southeast, Kent, Surrey, Sussex, where all the May the 1st elections have been cancelled. The Conservative administrations in those counties know that reform are coming for them. But they couldn't cancel all the elections, and the county elections are going ahead in Lancashire. And we've been winning. We've been winning some by-elections in Lancashire. I think our prospects are incredibly good. The year after, just over the border, we'll have the elections in Wales, where already we're in second place in the opinion polls and could cause a massive shock. So I want all of you that are here today, if you haven't yet committed to helping, and we can all help in whatever way that is, please, after this meeting, go out to the lobby. There are man tables there, wherever you're from, you know, Lancashire, Merseyside, Cheshire. Please go and sign up. Please help us. And who knows, there could be a by-election in Runcorn that comes up at some point this year as well. So please engage. And the really exciting thing is, the country is warming to our message. We're told that no one attends public meetings anymore. Well, this one was sold out many times over. And as I speak to you, there are people, huge numbers of people, watching us on live stream, and I bet you were as moved by what Elizabeth had to say as we were. There were many tears in this room, and we do care about these things, and we do care about our country. We do care about our people, and I urge you, if you haven't yet, please join us. And people have been joining us. Now, you've seen the live ticker, haven't you? I can't stop looking at it. I mean, maybe I'm getting old if I'm thinking about the ticker at 3 o'clock in the morning and other things, I don't know. But it's quite exciting. Now, who here watched the darts last week? Luke Littler, wasn't that amazing? And what is the top score in darts? And how many members have we got? 180,000 members! Just before we came on air, live on air, I threw those 3 darts myself. And if you believe that, you'll believe anything. I didn't. To have gone from where we were a year ago, we're about 12, 13, 14,000 members, to 180,000 members, says something. And you're all members in this room. And as we move into spring, we will open up our events to the public as well, and there'll be thousands coming to each one of these rallies. But the message is simple. If you agree with us, if you agree with our agenda and what you're trying to do, then please join the People's Army. Help the People's Army. If ever there was a moment, a once-in-a-100-year moment, when British politics was about to fundamentally change, where British politics was about to actually represent what the people of this country really think and feel, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen now. It's going to happen in the course of the next few years. I believe we can do this. I also believe the price of not doing this, frankly, doesn't bear thinking about. We have been led by cowards. We have been led by career politicians. In many cases, we've been led by idiots. We are attempting a political revolution in Britain. If we do it and succeed, we'll leave to our children and grandchildren something worthy and something they can be proud of. And I can't bear the thought of failure. I bet you can't either. So please, let's go forward and let's begin here in the Northwest, in Lancashire, on the 1st of May this year. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
अरे कब तक दौड़ेंगे टैंकर के पीछे? तूने ही कहा था ना कि शाम को भरेंगे पानी। दीदी सुबह के पानी में तेज बदबू थी, पीना तो छोड़ो, नहा भी नहीं सकते थे। अब लगता है भूल हो गई चुनने में भूल तो 10 साल पहले हुई थी। देखा नहीं कैसे दिल्ली में अब टैंकर माफियाओं की मनमानी चल रही है। तो अब बस अब नहीं सहेंगे, बदल के रहेंगे।
इस बार ना करें चुनने में भूल, खिलाएं कमल का फूल।
And further and beyond.
It's like, I mean, we've got a nightmare on Rachel Street. There he is, she's with her scythe, she's cutting our jobs, she's cutting our investment, she's destroying our economy. With her blunder budget, she's in the process of crashing our economy. Confidence is down, investment is down, jobs are down. It's unbelievable what this woman is doing.
सपने दिखा दिखा कर लूटा, टैंकर माफिया की गोद में जाकर बैठा झूठा, शीश महल बनवाया खुद का जनता के पैसों से, झुग्गी वाल